From what you've been seeing, what are the emerging threats, right, in the ecosystem? Perhaps the top two emerging threats in the ecosystem.
Actually, in the best security controls, their CISOs are the best in class. They go to training, go to foreign conferences, but still get breached. Why? Because
you find one individual that has access to almost everything. Now the fintech is growing, they are raising funds, and this same one person might be the enterprise, administrator or something like that, has access to everything. You find that in many places. What do you think about that? What are the different security considerations at the different layers of a fintech? And I'm interested in the fact that DevOps has moved from DevOps to DevSecOps. What is data leakage and how does it apply in this world of remote working? So let's say I have a mobile app, or I have a payment gateway, right? Or I have a payment processor. What are the best practices that I need to be in place to make sure I'm thinking about security well? And I'm just wondering, somebody that is bootstrapping their fintech and they don't have license, right? They have managed to get a partnership with a tier 3 bank or even a microfinance bank. And we are here talking about all these things that are FFT, FAFA things. There are some of them I've spoken to, and they're like, Ify, I'm partnering with X bank, Y bank, they are the ones that CBN is going to audit. All these things don't concern me. I pass the transaction over to them, and they are the ones that have the whole security. I shouldn't be bothered. What would you say to those kind of people? So I imagine that you get regular updates from the industry, especially like the sub-Saharan Africa or even Nigeria. From what you've been seeing, what are the emerging threats, right, in the ecosystem? Perhaps the top two emerging threats in the ecosystem.
So it would surprise you, and they're as popular as we know, but we probably just don't think about it. Top two, like the top two, I even had to write it down, is insider threats, always, and social engineering. So I was reading NIB's fraud report. Social engineering has the highest percentage. Let me give you an example. There's the recent controversial breach with one of our unicorns, and all the assumptions was pointing towards the third party being socially engineered or a possible insider breach that knew about this feature or exposure and leveraged that knowledge to carry out the breach. So either way, those two factors are very critical. Those two factors are really critical. So we can come and be saying so many English. If you can fix insider threat and social engineering issues, either with your staff or your customers, the volumes when it comes to fraud or issues with breaches reduces to a good extent. So now,
okay, yes, please make your point.
So because now you would see big organizations that have invested largely in the best security controls. Their CISOs are the best in class. They go to training, go to foreign conferences, but still get breached. Why? Because they have not hacked that insider. By hacking, I mean hacking the mind, extensive, say, security awareness programs that for the naive insider, you inform and empower him to know better. You probably can't change the insider that is malicious, but at least once they know that, there's CCTV watching me, they won't misbehave. So at times, awareness for the malicious insider is to let you know and say, hey guy, we would know before you cover your tracks. It's just a matter of time. So, and that's what happens with breaches at the banks. Most of them are insider and they get the guys after a while. They trace, they track them, and eventually they get them. So, but the question is, do you want to be reactive or do you want to be proactive? So do you want to lose the funds and regain it back? Or do you want to ensure funds don't even go out at all? So
Exactly. So most conversations I have about this fraud, money missing, and it's not explainable, right? And all that, everything points back to the fact that inside there was a collusion. And then I remember discussing that with you, and you mentioned a very important term you called technical governance. I'm used to talking a lot about corporate governance, but now you spoke about technical governance. Please, could you elaborate on that?
So technical governance, technology governance, yeah? It's more so if you look at it from a corporate governance balance, which is putting corporate processes in place to ensure the business is run successfully. So for example, vendor selection, get 3 quotes, change management. So there are some, from a corporate governance point of view, things the business will put in place or processes or operations they put in place to run a business that they live by. Same thing for technology, the structure, and you've talked about the layers of security. So technology governance is saying you're building technology. How are you governing, the operations of the technology? An operation of technology is security of technology. For the people consuming, the technologies, which is the customer, how are we securing their consumption of the technology? So now, technology governance from a security perspective now is at the different stages, effectively integrating security processes, operations, or controls at the different stages to ensure that your business is built to last. Customer experience is secure and enjoyable. Customer data is secure and can't be lost. Your revenue is secure and won't be lost. Customer's money also is secure with you and will not be lost. So what are those controls, processes we need to put in place? And it would route from the right access to the right people, the right restrictions for the right people, the right encryption methodology for the right data. It could be anything. So you look at your business and you say, for these technologies we've put in place, we're putting these controls in place to ensure, effective governance of your business. So you can look at it in different ways.
Interesting stuff. So there's something that comes to mind when you're talking about technical governance, and it's something that has been widely accepted. And I would like you to, comment on it from an expert's perspective. Most fintechs would normally have either a co-founder, the main founder that is tech, so he does everything, or have 2 co-founders, and one is a tech person, right? And one is maybe the business person, operations, or something else. And you find one individual that has access to almost everything. Now the fintech is growing, they are raising funds, and this same one person might be the enterprise, administrator or something like that, has access to everything. And they're like, oh yeah, he knows how to do everything. We're not techie, so we just left it for him. You find that in many places. What do you think about that?
So it's completely wrong. And for some of those organizations, once they try to comply to some of these standards, for example, the ISO 27000, you would at some point get to that point where we do interviews of who is this person? So who manages structures? You can't bring the same person for every role, and then it has to be a different person. And it will show up in the recommendation. We would advise you put structure around technology management, get a proper DBA, get a proper technology administrator, get a chief information security officer, a risk manager, a compliance manager. So you need to set up that governance, and don't look at it from, at times there's the naivety, which is, we are developers, we've built a good solution, we're excited, we don't care, we're out. Or we know we need this, but I'm cutting costs, I'm watching the cost. Do I really need this guy now? Should I wait for a breach? So a lot of guys don't do comprehensive insurance till they get bashed. If I don't comprehensive, I won't get hit. So I will tell you, I have a couple of clients that hit an inflection point before coming to subscribe to some of our services. I feel bad, but I'm like, at times we need to get to that point to see the value or understand the value. So I think it depends on where the mind is. I know a couple of people do it to save costs. They don't want to put too many bodies in the business, but they lose the fact that, this guy is a key man risk. He might even be a co-founder, but it's a risk because it is credentials are hijacked. They have access to the entire infrastructure.
Yeah.
So let's play a possible scenario out. I don't see it, at least we've not heard about it. Some technical, high-tech kidnappers kidnap a co-founder that has access to the entire infrastructure of a fintech. Gone to his head, put multiple laptops in front of him, or you log into your platforms, make these changes, move the app. So fine, he might, in a smart way, carry out those transactions in a way that it will be tracked and they can still recover, but you still face that trauma and that loss, and most likely there'll be reputational damage because the gist will go out and then you're firefighting, trying to get yourself back. So, and I remember, and to be honest, I would give it to some organizations. They've had proper structure. I remember being the enterprise administration on InterSwitch. The admin credentials used to be with someone in risk. I remember Tinuke, and I used to be frustrated. Anytime I need to make a change on production, I need to request, and it goes through an approval stage, and she shows up with the credentials. So, but he helped a lot. You get, it helped me because there'll be days maybe I'm tired and I get carried away. Someone is shoulder surfing, they see the password and they can go into stuff. So these controls are not too exciting at times, but it helps to secure your business. It helps make you sleep well at night.
And that sleep is really needed. Awesome, interesting. So let's talk about Infoprive. Anywhere I go to talking about security, the first thing that pops up is Infoprive. So it would be very good to demystify.
Are you sure?
What Infoprive really does, and how people can take advantage of your services.
Okay, so Infoprive is an end-to-end information security company. By end-to-end, I mean all aspects, all layers of information security. So if you notice, I didn't say cybersecurity because cybersecurity is a bit of like a subset of information security. And we cover different stages depending on your requirements. So we have an advisory arm. We help organizations comply to the best security standards, PCI DSS, PCI SLC, which I think we're the only ones doing in the country, or possibly in sub-Saharan Africa at the moment. Also all ISO standards, ISO this, ISO that, 27001, 22301, 20000, 9001, all ISO standards. Also SOC 2. So we have, we've seen a lot of fintech service providers complying to SOC 2, and we've helped them comply to SOC 2 standard. Also our federal standard, NDPR. So we help a couple of organizations, comply to the data privacy standard. The beauty of our NDPR standard is we are leveraging a technology. We have a DevSecOps, and we're building, so now we build security solutions. So we have a compliance optimization solution called Unomi that helps you monitor and manage your compliance standards for NDPR. So we'll be uploading PCI DSS and the ISO standards on them before the end of Q2. So what it does is it helps that CISO or that technology manager single view for all your compliance standards or security initiatives, and you can help you track and manage your requirements effectively. So that's for the advisory. We also have the security engineering team. We implement all security controls, same security incident event monitoring, DLP that we talked about, EDR, your next generation antivirus, API security solutions, cloud security solutions. So we implement security solutions, and we have a support team that would support you even before we escalate to the guy in Serbia or Montenegro. And then we also have a managed security services arm, the eSentry business, where we have a security operations center, is SOC. And we also provide services, vCISO service, the SOC service, and then offensive security service. So for the vCISO service, it's for fintech startups that, don't want to. And by the way, the CBN cybersecurity framework supports this. You can subscribe to a vCISO if you want to keep your structure lean without setting up a security team and recruiting a CISO, which can be expensive.
That people that don't have that bandwidth to afford
So we have a couple of clients that we do carry out the vCISO service for. So typically for vCISO, we develop a security program for you and we run it, working with your team, help them develop capacity, and then keep servicing. So we're like an extension of your business. You don't have to worry about security. Keep building and bringing on subscribers, making more money while we secure your business for you. And for offensive security team, that's the team that carries out the vulnerability assessment and pen testing. So we do that to help customers comply to standards and also secure their business, most importantly.
Awesome. It's a full shop, a security 360. So advisory, implementation support, managed products.
I would use that, security 360. Yes.
Awesome.